Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how I customized this AMT model of the K7 space station. Right here we have the largest section of the space station glued together and a couple of other components that'll be joined together later. I want to make this version taller than the original. What you see here is the lens from one of these solar powered lights, and it's got some undercoat on it and the cap from a medicine bottle on top. I want the top of this main section to have a communications array, and it's also been glued to the top of a medicine bottle cap, and I put a bunch of greeblies and stuff on here to make it look like a communications array, and I'm dispensing with the glass tower that's supposed to be on top. Got a speaker from some headphones on there, and an aluminum rod, a toothpick, some other junk I found. And to get an idea of how this is going to look when it's all put together, I'm going to do this preliminary setting of these parts together just to get an idea of how it'll look. And now we come to the three horizontal pylons in their respective saucer sections. I want to shorten these arms, so I'm going to cut out a section on each one of them, about an inch worth. Each one of these has been glued together already, so I'm going to go cut those sections out. All right, I cut those sections out and glued them back together. Here's the little piece that came out, and then I've reinforced that split using this wooden dowel. Put that inside the pylon. And now I've done that to all three of the pylons, and I've glued them to the central hub. Also, I've added a few surface details to start customizing this. This is a view of the bottom of the space station, and now we're looking at the top. Now this model kit comes with a set of decals, so I've got to decide what name I'm going to give this space station. And as you can see, it has other letters besides K, so I could name this E something or J something or whatever. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So here we go. I've decided to name this the E16 station, and I've painted the main saucer section a hammered blue color. Gives it a nice metallic look, and here's the communications array that's been painted gold or copper, can't remember which. And then I put the E16 decals on a separate section of hull plating that will attach to the surface of the saucer, and then this is going to be a thruster that I'm going to put on the back of this thing. Now the main section has its components assembled, and I've painted some windows around it. And here we have the shuttle bay section that will be attached to the bottom of the space station. And it's got windows painted on it as well. And I attached a couple of communication antennas on it as well. Finally, this section has been painted with the metallic hammered blue, and I've got windows painted around it. And this is, as I indicated, the underside. I'm numbering each of these arms 1 through 3, and number 1 section I think needs to have some thrusters on it. That's to help rotate it on its central axis, left and right. We've got these planetary sensors that I've put on the other 2 saucer sections. For those, I've used these stick-on doodads I got at a hobby store or something like that. And now we got the space station set right side up, and so we're looking on the top sections of it with windows painted on, ready for assembly. Okay, the next thing I want to do is add another detail to this. I went to the hardware store and got these connectors for an irrigation system, and I'm going to put them here to give these pylons some added strength. And here we go. I've added that brace to this number 1 pylon. It's got its panel that identifies it as the number 1. I've got the glass tower attached to it. These doodads that represent red hazard lights to keep away from these thrusters. This one sitting here on the end, that one would rotate the pitch of this space station like a cartwheel fashion. And here's the final product. All the parts have been assembled and the surface details have all been put on. Got the communications array here on the top section, and we've got a starship visiting. I decided to make this one the Excalibur. This is the 7-inch Enterprise model that comes in this set right here that many of you are probably familiar with. Given the fact that the plans for the K7 space station have it at about 35 decks, it would seem that a model starship of this size would be the correct size match, or pretty close. Here's a quick look at some of the little details I put on the model. That included some 1/32 red pinstriping, automotive pinstriping that I used. And this small kit gives you the same decal options for different names for the starships like the 18-inch model does. If you go on the internet and do an image search for sci-fi space stations, you can get some pretty cool ideas for details you could add to this model kit. Here's some more close-up views of the lower portion of the station. We got the shuttle bay section. As you can see, that gold section that I painted and put in that extends the height of this station. I think that's where the reactor core would be that supplies the power to the station. Here's another close-up of the communications array, and then I think that would be the command center right there, painted in black. And this is the main thruster for the station. It seems to me that a space station like this would need thrusters to alter its orientation, change its altitude in its orbit around a planet if it's orbiting, and maybe even move it out of harm's way when that's called for. If Federation tugs weren't available, the space station could use its main thrusters to move to another planet in the same solar system. And as I mentioned earlier, the thrusters on this pylon would be used to rotate this on its axis left and right, and then the one on the end would adjust its pitch cartwheel fashion. It would seem a space station would need to make those adjustments from time to time. Thought I'd give you another view of these planetary sensors that are on pylons 2 and 3. Anyway, hopefully I gave you some ideas of how you could customize this model kit. I wanted to give it a more compact look, which was why I cut out those sections on those arms. And anyway, have fun out there. Thanks for watching.